In African culture, the griot is a village historian who teaches everyone about their past and a keeper of the people's culture, tradition and history. These traditions and stories are kept in the form of music and dance, containing elements of history or metaphorical statements that carry and pass on the culture of the people through the generations. This is African Literature on the NTA, Africa's largest television network. Nnenna Bassey is my name, and I'm glad to know you're always there. This edition will explore the relationship between African dance and literature.
Dance is an expression of beliefs, attitudes, norms, and values of a particular culture. It is what is embedded in the culture that can be reflected in the dance of a community. In African societies, dance serves a complex diversity of social purposes. Within an indigenous dance, each performance usually has a principle as well as a number of subsidiary purposes which may express the communal values and social relationship of the people. The varieties of dance styles and tradition throughout the sub-Saharan Africa are as numerous as the social groups. However, some common aspects may be observed, such as the important role of dance as a medium of social and spiritual expression. In Africa, the dancer is more than a performer. The dancer is a teacher, a historian, a social commentator, a celebrant, a spiritual medium, a healer, and a storyteller. Dances ranges from the very ancient forms which relate to fertility, anthem, rites of passage, and the growing and harvesting of crops, to more modern forms which have evolved in response to modern conditions. As part of a spiritual ritual, dance may be a symbolic form of communication with natural powers or a trance-inducing movement, enabling the dancer to communicate directly with the spirits. In some masked dances, the dancer assumes the temporary identity of a god or a powerful ancestral spirit. In many traditional rural societies, group dances mark rites of passage, such as coming of age, in which young men or women compete against each other in dance as part of their initiation into adulthood. African dance often has a narrative role, which may have evolved from the practice of hunters relating stories of the day's hunting to the rest of the community. A narrative dance may relate creation myths, tell morality tales, or simply entertain and amuse. However, dance is also practiced as a purely aesthetic activity. There are two main kinds of dance: dances for participation, which do not need spectators, and dances for presentation, which are designed for an audience to watch. A dance, in general, is appreciated as a social occasion, but is simultaneously enjoyed as an activity in its own right, entertaining and giving pleasure as an expression of communal life. Dance serves a vital function in human society to achieve social cohesion or togetherness, causing them to feel a deep sense of communion with each other. As a result, people are liberated from the bonds of individuality. Societies whose traditional values are still intact tend to value the cohesive or unifying effects of the dance. Dance can be art, visual, or recreation. It goes beyond the merely functional movement of body parts to become an experience that is pleasurable and exciting. In doing so, it can express emotions, moods, ideas, tell a story, or serve religious, political, economic, or social needs.
African dance indeed play a key role in our communities.
Dance remains an indispensable element of life in the African society, binding communities and helping individuals to understand their role in relation to the society. Dance is the expression of life and of its permanent emotions of joy, love, sadness, hope, and without emotions, there is no African dance. Tosin Tume in our play, The Pact, presents the story of two villages bonded by love, separated by hearsay, and reunited by the past with the help of the women who refused to be part of the war. She weaves the entire play with scenes of different dance expressing the idea behind each story.
The Pact, it's a covenant. It's a play that is centered on the covenant between heads of two villages. You know, they entered into a covenant, they entered into a pact without letting any member of the family know. You know, as friends, they wanted their friendship to last forever, if you can say that. They wanted their friendship to last forever, and so they entered into a covenant, and they swore before a priest of the land. And then even as they went into that covenant, babies were exchanged. You know, the first sons were exchanged, and even the mothers did not know. So that happened at birth, and then it was something that kept the village together, the two villages together. They celebrated together, they mourned together, they did everything together. You know, they were like siblings. You know, they depended on each other for support. One of the villages didn't have water, so they would always go to get water from the village. The other didn't have salt, and then they depended on the other ones for salt. So they were, you know, dependent on each other, and this went on until, of course, you know how it is, something happened, and that pact was broken, you know. So basically, that's all there is to it. But of course, there came a point where they came back together after realizing what their parents did, you know, but then a lot had happened. You know, killings had taken place, they had lost a lot and all that.
The play is set in Nasarawa state of Nigeria.
The setting is in Nasarawa state, Nigeria, yeah.
Tosin highlighted different dances which helped bring out a vivid image of the idea behind her story.
Going through the play, The Pact, I noticed that there are 10 areas where dances were used to tell the story. You know, we had a scene where a father comes in, the king of the land comes in and meets his children and wife. The wife was telling them a story, and then as she was singing, the father comes in and joins them, and then they begin to sing together, and then you see them dancing. You know, it just tells you the kind of people we are. That kind of dance, it may not be a choreographed dance, it's a spontaneous thing. You know, you just see we're happy people, and so when we are happy, we dance. So that was an aspect that showed the power of dance and what it can do, how it can unite and even bring the young and old together. There are no barriers. You understand? There are no barriers when it comes to dance. Anybody can just, you know, be happy and then express it in dance. And so that happened. And then there was also a scene where a king also promised his wife to get clothes for her for the festival, their annual festival, you know. He was to get clothes for her and the wife of the other king, you know, that the fathers went into a pact with. And she was so joyous, she became happy, and then she started dancing. Just to tell you that we are a people that are very expressive. When we are happy, we dance. When we are angry, we dance. We have our different ways of, you know, showing this. When we want to do our occupational, we want to do occupation, we can dance, and then to show that this is what we do. And then also in the play, there was a scene where during the festival, as soon as the festival was declared open by the priest, The farmers came, they did their own farmers dance, you know, to thank the gods for the harvest, the bumper harvest for the year. That was after the priest announced that the gods had accepted their offerings for the year. They came out and did their occupational dances, showcasing how they went into the farm to till the soil, planted, and then they got harvest. And then the fishermen came, did their own, how they, you know, went to fish and all that, as well as the hunters. They also came and did their dance. That's just an aspect. And then we went further into the play to see where, before they went into the war that came as a result of the broken pact, you know, we saw the warriors of the two villages, the Emi village and the Kana village. I mean, the two came at different times. They performed their warriors dance and their war dances. They showed the vigor of the men and the vibrancy and the fierce nature of the men. They did their dance before proceeding into the war front. Same as the Emi warriors, they did same. And even when their leaders, the two kings, went to worship. Remember that because of the pact, these two villages worship even the same gods. I mean, they worship the same God. And so, one after the other, they went to meet these gods to pay homage, to perform the rituals, and to ask for success and victory at war. And so, before then, they also did their own kind of worship dance, and then they left. So you can see that we started from celebrative mode or celebration into war and into worship. So that's how dance has been able to communicate and to tell you that in our society, we dance for everything. Even when you go for funerals, there are dances that depict that. And so for a play as small as The Pact that is so loaded with 10 dances, it tells you the power of dance in our society.
The play featured themes like war, unity, strength of women, and many others.
Going through the play, we saw themes of war, of unity, of strength, women's strength, because when these men were fighting and wouldn't listen even to the priest of the land, it was the women who still came together and then made sure that they met in the shrine where the priest was, and then peace was restored.
Tosin made use of simple language embellished with proverbs.
It's simple. Her language, I mean, is an everyday language, and she used, in Nasarawa State, there are so many languages. She was able to bring in different languages to show that these people are united front. And then, of course, there were little proverbs here and there to also, you know, link us to exactly to the past and then present.
Her deployment of characters highlighted the good versus evil in the society.
Her characters basically dealt with the good versus the evil. In my opinion, I think so, because like I said earlier, Kubo is a character that interfered with the peace and harmony of the land. He was evil for no just cause. He just felt that these people are too happy. I mean, they are laughing together, eating together, and there has never been a time where we heard there's a war or there's a crisis between them. And then he had to lie about things that were non-existent. And then this led to a war. And then, of course, we have the women, the queens of the land, the queen of the Kana kingdom and the Emi kingdom. Even though their husbands were fighting, they didn't go with the husbands. They still stood as sisters. And I think that they were used as a voice of reasoning. You know, that in the midst of crises and all that, there are still some voices, like the good books will say. There are some still good voices that are there speaking reason. And if these voices can be more amplified, you know, if more people can join to say that the killings should stop and all that, I think our society. And then also, I want to look at the priest of the land as the link between the past and the present, and then how we can use traditional solutions to attend to our contemporary issues. You know, if we can also take a step back and look at our tradition, it will help us to provide solutions to the issues we have at hand.
Tosin is described as a creative mind among African writers.
She is a creative mind and has so many books out there and plays out there. And then, of course, she has done so many stage productions, you know, centered around dance and all that. She's a dance major, so basically that's the little I want to talk about, you know, the playwright.
Arts Composition today takes a look at our own dance professional, Tosin Tume.
Tosin Tume is an award-winning playwright from Nigeria. She is a performing artist, theater creator, dancer, singer, and scholar. She holds a bachelor's degree in English, master's in theater arts, and a PhD in performing arts. She has numerous theatrical productions to her credit, also several plays and dance scripts which have been performed locally and internationally. As the drama entry for the Nassau State Dance and Drama Troupe, her play, The Pact, won the first place at the NYC Zonal Cultural Festival in Bauchi in 2009. Her Sweet Poison was among the selected scripts for the 2015 Assisted South Africa New Writing for Young Audience in Africa, a program which was run in partnership with the Kennedy Center's New Vision, New Voices project in Washington, D.C., United States, and the Soweto Theatre and Dance Festival held at the Artscape Theatre, Cape Town, from 22nd to 27th June 2015. Tosin's play, titled Not That Woman, is the only Nigerian entry among the 7 plays in the Contemporary Plays by African Women anthology. It was published by the Metwing Publishers for the School of Theatre, Performance and Cultural Policy Studies of the University of Warwick via the platform of African Women Playwrights Network. Her play, Not That Woman, was also selected for staging at the Women Playwrights International Conference in Chile in 2018. The Victims, one of her works, won the Association of Nigerian Authors 2019 award, while her most recent play, Ya Femiga, is billed to be staged at the Women's Playwrights International Conference in Canada in 2022. Tume is an executive committee member of the African Theatre Association, African Women Playwrights Network, Society of Nigerian Theatre Artists, among so many other creative associations. She currently teaches in the Theatre and Media Arts Department, Oye Ekiti, Ekiti State, Nigeria. Some of her works are Tribal Marks, Mojo Wayi, Gimbia, The Future Is Now, Ya Femiga, Arodon, and so many other published and unpublished plays and dance liberty.
Which literary instrument communicates without words? Let's find out on this next segment.
Mime in literature. Mime is a very old form of theatrical expression which comes from the Greek word mimesis, meaning to imitate an activity. It is an ancient art that dates back to the early Greeks and Romans. Although Mime is often associated with French culture. It was in France, though mime majorly flourished. Dating back to pre-Asian times, mime is the art of acting silently through various kinds of theatrical movements. Although it mostly uses one artist, imaginary objects, and the artist's body to express an idea, which makes mime unique in its way. Mime, therefore, is a form of silent art that involves acting or communicating using only movements, gestures, and facial expressions. A person performing mime is also called a mime. Mime is abstract and highly stylized. It is abstract in the sense that mime does not imitate physical actions as it occurs in life. Rather, it gives an illusion of that action. In fact, it is through that lack of exactness and the exaggeration of actions, facial expressions, that its greater meaning is conveyed. Mime replaces exactness with conventions and abstractions that communicate symbolic or literal meanings. Everything in mime must be exaggerated. This exaggeration lifts mime above simple imitation of an action. Mime is more complex, based on theme, illusion, and plot, requiring a higher level of communication between the former and the audience. Types of mimes. Modern mime can be divided into two main types: abstract and literary mimes. Abstract mime. This type of mime usually does not feature a main character and has no plot. Instead, it focuses on provoking thoughts about a particular subject by expressing certain feelings or emotions. Literary mime. This type of mime tells a story with a plot and characters. Oftentimes, these stories are funny situations intended to elicit laughter from the audience. Importance of mime. Mime is not just for an actor, it is a must for everybody. It helps strengthen and control focus, both physically and emotionally. The art of mime engages one's ability of expression physically. Mime also has proven to be effective in stress management. Mime enhances the skills of expression and stimulates the imagination. Also, mime helps to alleviate stage fear, improve communication, and explore one's body potentials.
So far on this edition, you will agree with me that dance in Africa is used to express different types of emotions. Up next is our wise saying. And on that note, we urge you not to let down your guards as coronavirus is still out there. Till next week, please stay safe. Bye.
Mesa.